welcome back to my channel. So today I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about a very important topic for those new drivers out there who need tips. I will be talking about safety while driving in big cities like Los Angeles, Sacramento, Dallas, Houston, Denver, big cities. I know that when I start to drive my truck, one of my biggest concerns and that I would worry about would be like driving around cities, and that's because there's a lot going on, traffic, daily activities, people coming from work, constructions, and you have to make it past regardless. So it's very important to know these tips. I consider hopefully this helps the new drivers out there. So I would say tip number one, if you're gonna be driving around cities, make sure to plan yourself accordingly. If you're dropping off a load, if you're picking up a load on one of those major cities, if you're just driving by, it's very important to plan yourself. Make sure that you're always committed to drive safely, and one of the ways that you do that is by planning yourself correctly so that you don't have to make any last minute movements because maybe you got a little confused with the GPS or stuff like that. So like one of the things I always have, it's this book right here, my journal or notebook, whatever's. I bought it at the Phoenix terminal, and it has everything ready. I plan all my trips. I always make sure to write down all the information, where I'm picking up, where I'm dropping off, the time, location, everywhere. This helps me plan myself appropriately. This helps me to get around and know what I'm doing, know where I'm going or where I'm heading. I like to know the cities that I'm gonna be around, the streets. It's very important to check your Google Maps, where the main entrances are at. Always check that. It's very important. It's part of your pre-trip planning, even if it takes you at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes, probably when you start driving. That could take you anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes. Once you get used to it, it takes you like 5 minutes or even less. I also like to do myself take notes on this tiny notebooks like this. I take notes. As you could see, I write arrows on anything, like if I'm gonna go left, right, if there's a loop on any highways that I might be taking. I also write down the exits and stuff like that. I have that one I already finished it, and I'm starting a new one. So you can see right here I have all the information, the exits. I take driving very seriously, so it's very important to plan yourself appropriately, because you want to make sure that if your phone or your tablet or your GPS doesn't work for some reason, or you're a little confused when you take notes like this, 9 out of 10 times you're gonna know if you're gonna continue on the 70, if you're gonna continue on the 80, if you're gonna continue on the 15, whichever highway you're taking or whatever the case may be. It's gonna be better for you in the long run. Like when you're starting to drive, it's very important to not be making last minute moves, because that could cause collisions. Like if you're stressed when you're driving, you might make a mistake, because you're stressed, you're figuring things out, you're also driving, and there's a lot of it's a lot of pressure that you have to handle, like the first month, the first 2 months before you start getting comfortable while driving in a truck, and paying attention to all road signs, all the freeway signs. Like those are the most important things that you have to make sure to keep yourself alert and check which highways, which freeways you're going to be taking, what exits, and then also not just that, but the road signs in general. It's very important that you know how to follow them, because that's going to help you. A lot of those road signs are there to protect you and make you a better driver, for driving in cities. Plan yourself accordingly. Draw some maps, notes that will help you while driving. That's going to help you tremendously, trust me, because sometimes you could get confused but just by taking tiny notes will make you feel like you're more familiar to the place, even if you have never been there. Like, it happens to me all the time. Like, if they send me, like right now I'm in Ohio, usually I'm on the West Coast, but now that I came here, like, I took my notes, I did my planning. You know, there were some like interesting moments, I would say, but I felt comfortable. I was doing my thing, driving and everything, trying to do everything as safe as possible. But planning myself really helps me feel comfortable, really makes me feel like I know where I'm at. And it's very important when you're driving to feel comfortable, to feel safe, to not feel that stressed, or to not feel stressed at all if possible, you know. So that's my tip, planning yourself. Tip number 2 follows: make sure that when you know you're gonna be driving on major cities, whether just to pass by or to pick up or deliver, you want to make sure you have enough time. You want to make sure you have a full clock. By a full clock, I mean, if you could start somewhere near that big city, it's way better. You can stop at a truck stop that's pretty close when you're heading to that city. That's great. And then start the next day with a fresh clock. That will work. If you cannot do that, if you're actually gonna drive by, try to have enough time so that you're able to make it past that big city. If you can, if you're a Swift driver, you know that there's a lot of like Swift terminals. So make sure that you check on the Google Maps or on the Zoner, if the specific state or city that you're going to be driving by, there's any Swift terminals. One of the reasons why I liked this journal that I purchased, because it has all the it has all the Swift terminal locations. I mean, not the actual location, but it has the state that has a terminal, and it has like the city in which the terminal is located. So I really like that. So yeah, like I was saying, make sure that whenever you're driving around cities, make sure you have enough time. Sometimes on big cities, when you're trying to get through, sometimes traffic could get really bad, and just to make it past 1 mile, 2 miles, it could take you 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Sometimes there are big accidents and stuff, so you have to wait 2 hours for them to clear up the roads and for you to continue driving. So you want to make sure so you want to make sure that you have a good amount of time, so that if there's an accident, if there's road construction, if there's something going on the day that you're passing through or by that location, that you have enough time to make it, you know, safely and responsibly, you know. Okay, so that would be my rule or tip number 2. Tip number 3. Tip number 3 would be the same thing as when you're planning yourself accordingly, but that has to do with making sure to know where you're gonna stop for the day or for the night or for your breaks. Make sure that you plan yourself good enough so that if you have to take a 30, you have a safe spot to take your 30, and not taking it on a shoulder or things like that, because that could become a hazard for you. Because if by any chance you run into like an accident or something happens and you have to take a 30-minute break, a lot of the shoulders in big cities, they're kind of small. They're not big enough for trucks, and maybe they are, but just enough for like emergency stopping only. And if you're stopped at a shoulder and it's like emergency only, and a highway patrol sees you, you could get a ticket, and you don't want that, and you shouldn't be doing that because it's not safe for you or for the traffic that's moving, you know. Because when you go back to the road and drive, you know, to gain speed back, it takes a minute with the trucks, especially if you're heavy, you know. So you want to make sure that you take your breaks before heading or getting into like the big cities, because it could take you a long time to make it past. So just be aware of that. Like, give yourself at least more than 3 hours, 5 hours if possible. You know, the more the better, and the safer it is going to be for you and for everybody that's driving around you too, you know. So that will be tip number 4 or 3, whatever. If you're staying for the night, try to choose a lot of truck stops as possible, because one of the things that you have to know that in big cities, truck stops sometimes are too small, or they're big but they're always getting full anywhere between 3 and 5:30 p.m., which is like, you know, crazy, but it's true. Like, truck stops get full super early in big cities, and like, you don't want to be struggling, fighting over a spot. That's the last thing you want to do. And why want to put yourself in that situation? It's best if you choose, like, it's best if you plan yourself properly, and, you know, choose 3 truck stops. Stay on the one that's the best one. And I'm being super serious when I say truck stops get super cluttered and busy, like anywhere between 3 and 5:30ish. Like, if you get there anytime between that, you're gonna find a parking spot if you're lucky. But at the same time, it's like, it's kind of scary going around them, because drivers just rush everywhere, back and forth to get a spot, you know. But, you know, it is what it is. If you're a Swift driver, once again, check where the nearest Swift terminal is. If there's one located anywhere near, it's best if you go to that Swift terminal, because you're gonna be able to find a safe space or place to stay for the night. At least if you go to a truck stop, chances are you might not find a parking spot. And, you know, like, it's crazy going around big cities. When you're driving around major cities like Los Angeles, Dallas, Houston, Denver, areas like that, just know that anywhere between 5:30 a.m. to like 8:30 p.m., the roads are gonna be cluttered. There's gonna be traffic, and it's normal. They're big cities, so there's always gonna be traffic. People are coming from work, like I said, and there's not another way around that. Like, if I'm being completely honest, whenever I drive on cities like that, unless I'm just passing through, I prefer driving nighttime. Why? Because I don't have to deal with traffic. I don't have to deal with 100 crazy drivers out there. A lot of Class C drivers don't really care, and then they drive crazy, and it's very, like, it becomes like a very tedious moment and nerve-wracking, because it's like, I try to drive as safe as possible, but, you know, like, I can't control my surrounding. And, you know, even if I try, like, sometimes, like, like I say, there's a lot of crazy drivers out there, so you have to look out for that. And I prefer driving nighttime because of that. I prefer dealing with 1-2 crazy drivers out there than, you know, 20, 30, 50, 100 of them, you know. But that's just me, and I know driving nighttime, it's not for everybody, but that's something that works for me. And I also, like, plan myself, like, or if anything, drive like from like 3 a.m. Starting at 3 a.m. That's even better, you know, if possible. But, like, that's a thing to know. Also, another tip while driving big cities, make sure you're always looking at your mirrors. Check your head mirrors, side mirrors, check all the time. If when you're driving in a regular international state, normally if you're checking your mirrors every 6 seconds, when you're driving on a major city, you have to check your mirrors like every second, like every half a second. You have to be checking. You have to be very, very, very concentrated. Don't lose focus, because there are cars that come in and out. They get super close. They get in and out, and, you know, it gets super crazy. This tip, it's obvious, but it's so important, because when you're driving on major cities, there's a lot of movement, a lot of cars passing, and there's a lot of cars coming in and out your lane. So you want to make sure to not lose focus. Take things easy with a grain of salt, but also make sure you don't lose focus. Check where your trailer is at. Don't just look forward. Make sure you're checking your trailer, where your truck is at. Make sure you're not gonna hit a car with the trailer. It's very important. It's easy to make mistakes like that when you're passing through cities, because there's a lot of movement, like I said, a lot of cars, a lot of everything. So you want to be safe, and in order for you to be safe, you have to make sure to drive in a safely manner. Check your mirrors, check where you have your trailer. If possible, always keep your headlights on, so that if you have to signal, if you have to do something, you have them already on. You don't have to worry about turning them on. I keep them on for most part, so that's a very important thing too. Let me see, I was taking notes. These are some tips that I wanted to give you guys. I'm pretty sure that if you have been driving for a while, you know them already, but this is, like I said, a video for more like new drivers and stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video. I want you guys to stay safe and drive safe out there. I love to take driving very seriously. I also like to enjoy when I'm driving, and you know, it really helps when I plan myself, when I drive safely. You know, I know that it's a responsibility, my responsibility, our responsibility to drive safely, to keep everybody else safe too, you know. And so just make sure, don't be nervous, plan yourself ahead. Look at your mirrors, check where your trailer is at, make sure that you are always driving cautiously, and you'll see that things are gonna be fun on the road, and you're not gonna be that nervous anymore. Give yourself a couple of weeks, a few, maybe 1 to 2 months, you're gonna start feeling comfortable while driving. But make sure to always take it seriously and be responsible. Check all the time your truck stops, check your rest areas, check your Swift terminals, check all of that. That's gonna help you when you're driving around big cities. Just know it's nerve-wracking at first, but you're gonna get used to it. Things are gonna get better, way better. So just hang in there, drive safely. I love you all. I love creating these videos. Let me know if you enjoyed it or not, whatever. Don't forget to like or comment down below and let me know what's up, any other videos they want me to make. Give me ideas, because it's hard to think of what kind of videos to make, because I feel like I've done them all kind of, but you know, just thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Say what you wanna say to me now. I wanna wake up with you.